This JKS front sway bar quicker disconnect system is for those of you that have 2.5 to 6 inches of lift on your 2007 to 2018 JK and are looking for an easy to use quick disconnect system that's going to give your suspension the maximum ability off-road. Disconnecting your sway bars is a great way to get maximum articulation, keep more tires on the ground at the same time, get more traction, and having a quick disconnect system is going to make that a lot quicker and easier. We're going to show you how to get this system installed. It's a very simple 1 out of 3 wrenches, and again, we'll show you how in just a second. So you can certainly disconnect your factory sway bars if you still have them installed. You can disconnect a set of longer sway bar end links that may have come with your lift kit, even if they're not a quick disconnect setup, but you need to get some tools involved and it can be a little bit more difficult and time consuming because of it. Having a system like this, there are going to be a series of pins that hold the sway bar end link between the sway bar and the mount on the axle. You pull the pins, you pull the entire end link out, and then strap your sway bar up out of the way, and you're good to go off-road a lot quicker. Now, there are some systems out there that don't have 2 pins. They have 1 pin, usually down on the axle side here. You don't disconnect the sway bar end link completely. It stays connected to the sway bar, and you swing it up out of the way, and you can store it up in pretty much the front of the fender area here where it's not going to get bound up or twisted up in the suspension. Those are just some other options out there. If you don't like this option where you actually have to take the whole end link out, put it inside your vehicle, throw it in the glove box in the center console, in your recovery bag, wherever, there are some others where this stays connected to the sway bar. That's up to you. A couple things I do like about this system is that it is adjustable, so ultimately you want your sway bar to be parallel to the ground when your suspension is about halfway through its travel. So depending on how your suspension is set up, if you have more down travel than up travel, which is pretty normal, you want your sway bar to be at a little bit of an up angle when the Jeep is sitting on the ground under its own weight. The adjustability of this end link allows you to do that because, let's face it, even if you have 2.5 inches of lift, that doesn't mean the front of your Jeep is going to be the same height as somebody else who has 2.5 inches of lift. If you have a heavy front bumper, a winch, something like that, it can change those heights. And this being adjustable allows you to dial it in exactly where you want it. The other thing I like about this is it has 2 grease fittings on it. So if you keep it greased, you're going to be able to adjust this and you're going to be able to keep it working for you for a good long time. You don't want these bushings wearing out. That can give you a little bit of chatter and also a little bit of additional body roll. So this is going to help to avoid that. So overall, this is going to be a really high quality system, really well built piece by JKS. That's what we expect from a company like JKS. Because it is a bit of a premium product, you also are going to pay a premium price. These are going to come in at right around $170, and that is for what you're seeing here. So the pins and the sway bar end links. If you also want the straps to keep your sway bar up out of the way, that's going to be a little bit of an additional charge. However, you don't need to make that purchase. You can just use something like some zip ties or bungee cords or whatever you want to keep the sway bar up out of the way. I mentioned before that this is going to be a pretty easy installation for you, 1 out of 3 wrenches. Let's show you how to do it. For this installation, we used a couple of sockets, an 18 and 19 millimeter deep well driven by a 3/8 electric and pneumatic impact. We also used an 18 and 19 millimeter wrench and our Phillips head screwdriver. So like I said before, this is going to be a very easy 1 out of 3 wrenches for the installation. We're going to start with uninstalling our factory sway bar end link, and that process is very, very simple. Now we have our Jeep up on the lift here. That's really just to make it easier for me to get in there and for you to see what we're doing. However, you can very easily do this with the Jeep on the ground with all the tires on. These are very easy bolts to get to. So all we're going to do is remove this lower bolt and this upper nut right here and get the sway bar end link out of the way. So for the top of the end link, we're going to be removing this nut on this side, but there actually isn't a bolt to remove. This is a tie rod end style joint at the top of the factory sway bar end link. So we have a 19 millimeter wrench. We're actually going to go ahead and hold the stud. They put a little bit of a flat spot on there for us so we can get a wrench on that. Otherwise, when you spin this, the ball inside that tie rod end joint can just spin and you'll never actually get it loose. If you need to, if this isn't working for you, there's also an Allen head recess inside the end of the stud. So what you can do is put a wrench on the nut, put a Allen key through here and hold on to it. So that's just another way of holding the stud. This way works a little bit better in my opinion. So that's what we're gonna do. So once you have that factory end link removed from the Jeep, you can go ahead and install your new JKS one, and it installs with a couple of quick disconnect pins, one on the top and one on the bottom. So we're going to slide the top pin into place here, get the nut started on there, and then we're going to use this small Phillips head screwdriver in this hole here, and that's how we're going to keep that from spinning as we tighten down the nut on the other side. Now we can install the pin on the bottom, and it's going to install in the same way. Put it through the axle side mount, get our nut started on there. Slide the screwdriver through the hole, and then tighten the nut down. The last step is to install the end link itself with these couple of quick disconnect pins. Now, as you can see, this is an adjustable end link, so you want to get it adjusted so that the sway bar is right around flat when your suspension is about halfway through its travel. Now, because most suspension systems will have a little bit more down travel than up, you can usually set your sway bar just above parallel when the Jeep's sitting on the ground under its own weight. That's going to be close enough. You don't have to do all the measurements and all the calculations to get this quite exact. But we went ahead and got ours adjusted to where we think it should be. We tightened down the jam nut. Now we'll get it installed. I'm going to slide it over the top pin here first, and use one of these retention pins to hold it in place. Then we'll just slide the other part of the end link over the lower pin here, and slide that retention pin into place the same way. That's all there is to it. In order to remove this sway bar end link, we'll pull the pin from the top and from the bottom. Slide the end link off of the posts. Then we're going to return the pins back into the posts, that way we don't lose them while we're off-road. You want to set the end link itself in the glove box or in the center console, and you will need to strap your sway bar up out of the way using some tape, zip ties, or you can purchase a strap specifically built for that purpose from JKS. In order to reinstall the sway bar end link, you'll unhook the sway bar however you had it hooked up in the frame area. We'll go ahead and pull both of the retention pins, one from the top and one from the bottom. Slide the end link over the tapered pins, again, top and bottom. And then we'll install our retention pins to make sure nothing can move while we're driving. So if you are looking for a high quality adjustable set of quick disconnect sway bar end links for your JK, I would recommend this option from JKS, and you can find them right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.